everyone. I'm Dr. Cindy, your host of the Positively Altered podcast. I am a chiropractic internist and nutritionist, and we love to discuss all things health related here: physical, spiritual, emotional, and maybe even email related or to-do list related. Do you have a to-do list? I have a to-do list. My to-do list has a to-do list, and I can't seem to get ahead of things. On today's episode, we are going to talk about how to actually accomplish something without leaving your to-do list longer than where it started. So let's take a moment. We're going to listen to some sponsors that are really important to us here at the podcast, and we are going to be back with today's guest.
Hello, my name is Heather Lord, and I am the COO of Professional Health Products. Cutting corners is an all too common practice in the dietary supplement industry. When my father founded Professional Health Products, he sourced the cleanest, most biologically active ingredients from around the globe. Today, that commitment remains, which is why the finest healthcare practitioners, like Dr. Cindy, have trusted us for more than 40 years. We oversee the entire process in our manufacturing facility, from sourcing and formulation to manufacturing and labeling. Today, we offer over 300 unique products that can be tailored to the nutritional and homeopathic needs of each individual. Most recently, we launched a proprietary genetic test, allowing our practitioners to get even more dialed in to their patients' health. To learn more about Professional Health Products, please talk to your practitioner or visit our website at phpltd.com.
Today, your life is going to be altered. I'm Dr. Cindy.
Welcome to Infinity. We have worked hard to create an electronic claims website that is simple and user-friendly. This is the public side. You can log into your personal web portal here. This is your dashboard. You can personalize it to your liking here. Our main focus has been to allow you to submit and edit claims as easy as possible. You will find our claims editor and claims processing is simple to use and straightforward. Our quick action bar is where you can find your most important information. Most of these icons will take you directly to the claims the number represents. You can easily view if you have any messages in your inbox of any unread alerts by looking for these blue numbers. To view the rest of our training videos to get the most of your Infinity experience, click this icon. We hope you find this web portal simple and easy to use. Thanks for letting us serve you.
I'm Dr. Cindy. Who wouldn't want to join me for the Positively Altered podcast? And we are back at the Positively Altered podcast. Thank you so much for taking a listen to our sponsors. They are really important to us and the program. Here with me today, though, is an accomplishment strategist, and we're going to find out exactly what that means. Maura Thomas, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my God, this is great. So those are two really big words, and I'm sure there's people out there thinking the same thing. You know, one of the hardest questions I think sometimes to answer, especially when you're being interviewed, or tell me about all of your accomplishments. And I'm sure, right? I mean, that was just stressful to even say out loud, because what exactly would be my list of accomplishments and what's important enough? And how do we know we've actually accomplished something? And I think I just asked you about 5 different versions of the same question in there, but I want to just dive in right away to have you talk about, what does that mean, accomplishment strategist? And what does it mean to actually have an accomplishment?
Yeah. There's a super easy way to say it. Now, accomplishment, there's a time horizon and all that kind of stuff, but super easy way. Most people end most of their work days thinking, oh my gosh, I was busy all day and somehow I got nothing done. My goal with my work is to help people have more days that end with the thought, oh my gosh, that was such a good day. I got so much done. And the thing is, nobody at the end of their day says, oh my gosh, it was such a good day. I read like 200 emails. It was amazing. Nobody says that. Usually you say that the thing that makes a good day at work for most people, and there's all kinds of research that backs this up, but it's getting stuff done, right? It's like, I worked on my own to-do list. I wrote that article. I did that podcast. I sent out that proposal. I, made those changes to my website, like whatever was on my to-do list. I checked things off that actually mattered to me. And so that's accomplishment. And the reason that I use the word accomplishment is because, the research about what makes a good day at work was detailed in a book called The Progress Principle. And it says that progress in meaningful work is what makes people feel like they had a successful day at work. So progress, accomplishment, doing things that matter. Achieving significant results is another thing. It's the definition of the word productive, right? So significant results, meaningful work, accomplishing things.
Okay, so I have this huge pain point, and I always joke that my to-do list has a to-do list because I can never kind of check every single box on the to-do list. So break down for me how somebody like in my world, right, that feels like that to-do list is perpetual. I never get ahead of it. How do I recognize the fact that I can still be accomplished with those couple boxes when the list is never ending?
Oh, yeah. I mean, nobody will ever finish everything on their list, right? Because it's like, I guess until the day you die, it's like life done, right? But it's what did I plan to accomplish today, right? Like what matters to me today? And honestly, I think about this as accomplishment because there's time horizons. The significance changes with the time horizon. So if I asked you what was most important or significant to you today, you'd give me a different answer than if I asked you at the end of the week, what was the most important thing you did this week and this month and this year and this decade and this lifetime, right? And so significant to me or accomplishing important things means anything from your most important thing on your to-do list today to what kind of legacy will you leave behind, and pretty much anything in between that you consider significant. But when it comes to your specific question, we spend our days, the reason that we say, I was busy all day and I got nothing done, is because we are reactive all day long. And we can only be productive, we can only achieve what's important to us when we are proactive. And we can only be proactive when we're not being reactive, right? So when you're like, all right, what am I going to do? And you go to your to-do list and you pick something off and you do that couple, 2, 3, 4 times. At the end of the day, you're going to be like, yeah, that was a good day.
So does it make sense for me to have multiple to-do lists? I have that, let's say, annual goal list, and I have the quarterly and I have the monthly. And tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to start with the today list that might be a smaller piece of those bigger lists.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that you asked the question, I was like, no, one to-do list, but it can be one to-do list broken in different sections, right? Like, sure, you have goals and then you have next steps moving toward those goals, right? So yes, if you have like big picture and then you have today steps, that's great.
Okay, so I got nothing done today, or at least I feel as though I've accomplished nothing today. Do you also find that for a lot of people, that's actually just not true? It's just not the vision they had when they started the day?
It can be, because I mean, the truth is even when we feel like we got nothing done, we were busy, right? It's just that we got other people's stuff done, right? I answered those emails and I answered those chats and I went to those meetings and I answered those calls. And it's not like anybody usually feels like they got nothing done because they sat around, filing their nails and eating bonbons all day. It's because their to-do list got longer instead of shorter. And those things that have been weighing on their mind are still weighing on their mind because they did all the other stuff. So it's not usually that you're not working and doing things. It's just that how it feels to you is different based on if it's my stuff or your stuff.
So where do you find that we get stuck not focusing on our own stuff and turning our attention to those things that allow us to feel unaccomplished?
It's way easier when you're sitting at your desk thinking, oh my gosh, what should I do next? It is way easier to say, well, there's just email that just came in. Let me just deal with that. or there's this chat that just came in, or the phone's ringing, or there's a notification on my phone, or right. All this stuff is constantly coming at us. And we rationalize it by saying, I mean, this is work. I got to do it. And so it's just easy to keep doing all that stuff instead of saying like, all right, I got to rewrite that page on my website. Which page was it again? And where are those notes? And what did I want? Never mind. There's that email. Let me just do that. Right.
So how do you feel versus having the morning to-do list, right? Which sometimes I think can feel very overwhelming versus scheduling times or blocks throughout the day to accomplish certain tasks on the to-do list. Would that make me more productive, do you think?
Not usually. I mean, so most making appointments with yourself is not always a bad thing. But if you just take everything on your to-do list and you schedule it, you just pick random blocks in your calendar to do it. Most people the first person you'll break an appointment with is yourself, right? So most people will just ignore all those things and then they have to rearrange their calendar. So in my experience, most people who do that spend way more time rearranging their calendar than they do actually getting things done. The reason that your to-do list feels overwhelming is that there's too many things on it. So you need to, it's really important to prioritize. In my system, the way that I teach people in empowered productivity is to prioritize by due date. And you have to think about really how many things am I going to do on my list in a day? And for most people, the answer is somewhere between 3 and 5 on average.
Okay. That we need to check off each day.
Yes. If I do 3 to 5 things that were on my next steps list today, I'm going to feel pretty good about the day, probably. As opposed to, I read all these emails and I did all this other stuff and I went to all these meetings, but I didn't do anything. I didn't check anything off.
So the meeting comment is very interesting to me. There's that whole concept of death by meetings, right? In a lot of organizations. How, in your opinion, how detrimental or how much time could we actually allot to other things if we eliminated a lot of the so-called meetings that we schedule?
Yeah, to me, so meetings are a problem for most people, especially people who have remote teams. But I believe that part of the meeting problem is really, I think the biggest culprit is for many people is internal communication. Everybody on the team and in the company is emailing everybody about everything all the time. And the reason for that is because the information I need to do my job is not accessible to me. It's probably in and like we talked about this in some Teams chat like a couple of weeks ago, but now I'm scrolling. I'm not finding it in that chat. Which thread was it in? I don't know. Oh, I think there's a shared folder in the drive. What's it called? Which I don't know. Cindy, can you just tell me that thing that we talked about? Right. And so everybody's asking everybody all the things because organizations don't do a good job of making information transparent and accessible to the team. And so every minute that you have to spend in an inbox is a minute that you don't get to spend working on your task list.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I think in my own personal experience, so my executive assistant, Julie, who I have now learned to not live without, does just that for me because I have, you're going to be mortified. You ready? I have probably 40,000 unread messages in my regular email. And in my email for the Positively Altered Project, everything that you see and hear here, there are 0 in the inbox. Julie's really great at putting them in their place, getting rid of things we don't need. It's all organized. I can look up topics. And I'm afraid to delete all 40,000 of my inbox ones because what if there's that one email that I actually need based on my keyword, right? That I'm going to need to find. I'm exhausted just even telling you that story.
Oh yeah, 40,000 emails is just a big old pile of stress for you, right? And I would say you already missed it. You're not going to find it. Like, I mean, when you say, if that inbox is like all the other parts of your work except the podcast, then I would say, yeah, I could see where that's stressing you out, but you're never going to go through those 40,000 anyway. So you might as well So a lot people, there's this idea of email bankruptcy. My comment usually is a little more palatable to people. And this is just to, I guess I need to come up with a snappy name for this, but you don't delete them all. You just move them all into a folder that said like old emails.
Okay.
And then move all of them, or move everything but like yesterday's into a folder, and then start fresh, deal with yesterday's, and now you're on top of it again. And the reason this feels more palatable is because it's like, I know I might need it, it might be there. You're never going to look at those again. I can tell you that right now. You're never going to look at those again. But it might make you feel better to think that if you did need to, they would still be there. So just do that.
Right. So you're giving me permission in a sense to excuse the bad behavior of the 40,000 emails, because I do. And I say that at the end of the year, I'm like, I'm just going to delete everything. Because again, clearly I didn't either pay attention to it, need it, want it, right, on some level. And if it was life threatening or an emergency, I would have, or B, they will actually email me again at some point, should that really truly be the case. Right.
Yeah.
So maybe people need permission to figure out where the accomplishment needs to sit and be okay with the fact that not every to-do list item really means you've accomplished something.
Well, here's an interesting thing, because now it sounds to me like you are equating your email inbox with your to-do list.
Okay.
And I would say that those two things are different. But the thing about starting fresh is that unless you have a process for managing your email, you're going to be back to those, if not 40,000, at least, 5,000 within a couple of weeks. And so you need a process. So how are you handling that inbox? And so that's a whole process. I talk about it in one of my books, like it's filtering, it's maybe unsubscribing, although unsubscribing is so sketchy now. But it's rules, deciding what's in there that you're getting. And also what I tell people is that your inbox is for receiving and processing messages. It's not for storing messages.
Okay.
So if you've already read it, it either needs to go on your to-do list, or you need to delete it, or you need to file it somewhere else. Don't just leave it there. Like, save all the messages you think you need to save, but don't save them in your inbox, because that just stresses you out.
I love that. I think about my two separate ones, right? My personal one that my assistant isn't in very often. I don't feel accomplished, actually, even though that's not my to-do list, right? Because it's always something I have to look at to go, oh, and there's stress related to it. The one that she manages beautifully, I always feel accomplished because I can go in that and be like, there's nothing for me to do today. It's actually lovely.
Yes. But again, right, your inbox and your to-do list ideally are two different things.
No, I think that's fair. And I'm going to separate those. Okay. So let's shift a little bit from feeling accomplished to what you call attention management, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
I don't want to decide what that means for everybody. So will you share, what do those two words together mean for you?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that they mean to me is that our framework of productivity is all wrong for the place that we live in, right? The world that we live in now, time management no longer cuts it, right? We have this concept of time management and all these techniques of time management, and all of them were fine before the internet and before internet connected smartphones. Like, go into your office and close the door, and then make a list of all the things you have to do, and prioritize those things A, B, C, D. And if you can't do it now, schedule it on your calendar, and all of it will get done beautifully, because there was nothing else going on. You had a phone on your desk, and that was pretty much it. And most people, especially, senior level, they had an office with a door, and they had a gatekeeper, and they had all the things. And we don't live in that world anymore. The reason that we don't get done what we need to get done in a day is not really because we don't have enough time. It's because we're too distracted. We have 8 million things coming at us. And so the solution to a distraction problem is not a time solution, because no matter how much time you have, if you're still crazy distracted the whole time, it's not going to help you. The solution to distraction is attention. So I think we need an entirely new framework for the 21st century. And we need to kick time management to the curb, and attention management is what we need to think about, because our attention is being stolen from us every day, every minute of every day on purpose. And so we need to understand that that is our biggest obstacle today. And so to me, what attention management means is it's a whole collection of behaviors. It's mindfulness, it's focus, it's active concentration, it's presence, it's daydreaming. Like it's the mastery of all the sort of headspaces that you could be in, and ensuring that you are choosing where your attention goes instead of just outsourcing your decisions to your devices.
Yeah, I've never actually wanted more time. I'm afraid of, and not that we can give it, right? But I've actually been afraid of that. Like if I had more than 24 hours in a day, I would be just as tired as the 24 hours I have, right?
That's right.
So what are some good tips and tools for people listening out there, and myself included, who easily gets distracted to things that are not beneficial for my day? Are there any good tricks that we can employ throughout the day where we start to think of that differently, or make better choices to get away from the distraction?
Absolutely. The way to think about it differently is that no one can steal your attention unless you allow it to be stolen. So, nobody can distract you through your technology unless you allow it. And we have all of these stories that we tell ourselves, and these stories have been planted in our brains on purpose by attention merchants, right? The companies that have monetized our attention. If they can convince us that we can't control our attention, if they can make us forget that we aren't controlling our attention throughout the day, then they make more money. So we have to be ruthless about the notifications we get, right? The notification that says somebody just liked your LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube post, right? That's not for you, that's for them. And I don't mean them meaning the person who liked it. I mean the company that has monetized your attention and trying to pull you back into the app. So ruthless killing your notifications, ruthless about making choices about where your attention goes. And so once you eliminate all of those external distractions, then it's way easier for you to decide where attention goes. Now, we are our own worst enemy because we have become habituated to distraction. And that again is the goal of the attention merchants, is to give us a habit of distraction. And so now it's really hard for us to manage our attention, but the more we do it, the better we'll get at it.
Yeah, it's interesting. There have been days that I've gone to look, on the phones, it'll show you how much time you spend on different apps or just on the phones in general. And there are days I actually pull that up and I'm disgusted by how many minutes, right, are spent on something other than where I probably would have preferred had you addressed it. Like if you confronted me with it initially, right, and said, okay, how much time are you willing to give to those types of distractions? And I do think there's a little bit of benefit for me, at least, to the mindlessness for a few minutes. Sometimes it's nice to just not do what I need to get done, but I think that's minutes, not hours.
Well, and also you're not wrong, but we think that, oh, just a few minutes of scrolling, it's mindless, it's helpful, it's relaxing. It actually isn't.
Okay.
It's not relaxing. It's not relaxing. If you instead took a break and got up and took a walk, or, drank some water, had a snack, moved your body in some way, that's actually quite a bit more beneficial to you than just scrolling, especially since the more we scroll, the more we scroll. Right?
That's true.
Now you can make intentional decisions about, okay, I need to go into LinkedIn or whatever, and I need to see all the comments and I need to respond to things. So that's another task. It's an intentional choice, but I would encourage you to say, oh, I just need a few minutes before I dive into this huge project. So let me just scroll for a while. because everything is against you there.
Yeah, I guess I'm taking my own personal example to try to really understand where I can facilitate some more productive changes, right?
Yeah.
And LinkedIn is a great example. So like, I am not a fan of looking at all the comments. I actually have other people that'll do that to see if they need to respond. But I do like to see if there's anything worthwhile in the messages where I would like to make a meaningful connection with somebody. And I ignore probably 99% of those. But every once in a while, there's something that piques my interest and I reach out and we schedule a 15 or 30-minute discovery call. And some of those have actually proved to be quite beneficial in building relationships in some of the things I'm working at. So I think it's an interesting exercise on how to figure out, again, where the productivity piece of that becomes versus I just made an excuse to keep me away from the thing I really wanted to be doing in the first place.
Yes.
And run down that rabbit hole of, I've been on LinkedIn now for 30 minutes, doom scrolling, right, as they call it. And yet I do think there's some real benefit to some of the technologies out there if we're very careful and mindful about how we use them.
Yes. So if you have a goal that is not, I just want to look, right? Like it has to be a real goal. Like I need to, it's kind of, from that perspective, email is a little bit like, LinkedIn is a little bit like email, right? I need to look at my LinkedIn messages and deal with whatever I need to deal with there the same way I do with my email inbox. That's a goal instead of like, I just need a little break. So let me just see what's around or, what's in my feed or who's messaged me or who's liked things or whatever. Right. So to me, the intention and the purpose, right? If you're doing it with intention and you have a specific purpose, that's what keeps you from losing too much time, from being manipulated by the algorithms and the rage scrolling and all of the things that it's so good at doing.
And this is more what you talk about being empowered from a productivity standpoint, correct? So it's making a conscious choice to use it in a way that serves you.
Yes.
With an outcome in mind.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. And to me, the word empowered is so, I just love it because it's just so big and so, it's about all parts of your life. It's about putting you back in the driver's seat, about your decisions, about your thoughts, about your emotions, about your actions, about just achieving the goals that you want to achieve, accomplishing things.
Right. And my goal might be very different than what you think my goal should be.
Oh, I have no opinion about what your goals should be, right? As long as you have decided, right? If your goal is to your goal could be, I'm going to find 10 new people to follow on Instagram or something. And if you have a reason for that and that's what you want to do, that's great. I saw a really sobering statistic this weekend that, because we all say, everybody tells me like, but I'm really on social media, like to catch up with my friends. And the statistic was that only 17% of the time that people are on Facebook, they are actually reading things from friends, interacting with friends. And on Instagram, it's only 7%.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
So this excuse that we're telling ourselves, there's a good reason I have to keep up with all my friends. We're kidding ourselves.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because on both of those things, you can actually look up the friend you'd like to learn about and just look at their one post for the day too, which would probably take about 45 seconds versus the 45 minutes of scrolling to get to that one post as well. Right. So
yes,
with intention, we could actually accomplish that if that was really the goal.
We could. The challenge that is against us is that Instagram and all the other tools are so, and the internet, how many times have you gone online to do a thing and then 15 minutes later you're like, why did I even open this browser? You haven't done the thing. And social media platforms are even better at diverting us.
Okay. So Maura, I see a life-altering business proposition for us to figure out how to create software for those people that when they do the thing on the internet, it won't allow them to go anywhere other than the thing. Wouldn't that be sort of brilliant for people who want to be productive?
It would be brilliant. I think this solution that is going to emerge is paid services.
Okay.
right? We're going to have a subscription-based social media so that it's not algorithm driven, it's intention driven. I only connect with the people I want to connect with. I see what they post, and I have my channels that are like, these are my work friends and these are my personal friends, and this is right. But as long any platform that you are using that is free, you have to remember that you are not the customer, you are the product.
Right. And it's interesting because I talk about this a lot in LinkedIn being this, amazing business space that has morphed into not such an amazing business space anymore of connection, right? And the amount of bots and false advertisements, and I don't know, there's like 10 people a day that would really love to hire me for my skill set who probably don't really even know that I exist in human form. And, it's very discouraging because here was a platform that I thought was so brilliant on the front end and now has become a nuisance to dig through.
That's right. They saw the writing on the wall. Like, this is not the profit. This is where the profit is. Right. And so, so now it's bots. And I've come to putting, when I do want to connect with someone in LinkedIn, I'm like, it's really Maura. This is not a bot. I am a real person. Right. Just because I've become so cynical. I've had the bait and switch so many times, like, hey, Maura, I'd love to connect, loved your work, read, attention management or everyone wants to work here and loved it. So I'd love to connect. So I respond, hey, thanks so much. Happy to connect. So have you thought about ever doing a podcast, or do you have all the leads you need? Or I'm like, oh, I hate you right now. I hate you so much.
I know. My favorite is when they're like, have you ever thought about writing a book? And I write back and go, clearly you haven't checked me out because I've written a book. And here's the link if you'd like to buy it. And I just turn it back around. And then, of course, it's well, what about a second book? And I'm like, all right, I'm done. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's almost a little discouraging because I do think there is some good hidden in all of this. It's just becoming harder and harder to use. For sure.
Yeah. I think that paid platform, I feel like it must be out there. And if it's not out there, it's probably coming soon.
Yeah, I would agree. And then that'll morph into something else, and then we'll have to start a new one.
If your revenue model is subscription based and not advertising based, then your goal is to serve your customers, your subscribers, not your advertisers, because the needs of the advertisers and the needs of the members are actually in conflict.
Right. And as long as you can make decent enough money to put on your platform and make a good living, you're serving people.
To a certain extent, we have Substack, but it's not like a platform, right? Substack is like a one-to-many instead of, it doesn't really have that one-to-one option.
Right. No, that's fair. Before we take our last break, I just want to spend 1 minute, if you will, on just making sure we understand the difference between productivity and accomplishment, because I do think they can be different things.
They are very similar, and I guess it depends on the context, right? So the definition of productive that guides my work is achieving significant results. And so if your most important thing on your to-do list today is something, it is likely something that will make you feel accomplished if you complete it.
So the accomplishment, as I hear you describe it, and correct me if I'm wrong, feels more like an emotional response to the productivity. In other words, I checked the box, but I recognize that this is what I wanted to get done, because I do think there are days I can be productive and not feel accomplished.
It's really insightful that you should say that, because here's why there's an emotional connection. Because in the attention age, in the information age that we live in, it is very hard to measure the productivity of information workers, knowledge workers, right? If your job outputs are brain functions, right? Ideas, creativity, relationships, connections, analyzing things, solving problems, right? How do you count that at the end of the day, right? And so, as opposed to in the industrial age, like I made 10 widgets yesterday and we made 11 widgets today, and so we were more productive. So productivity of knowledge work is very hard to quantify. And so to me, what the measurement of productivity in the information age needs to be qualitative. If you ask a knowledge worker, do you feel like you were productive today? Their answer is probably going to be right. If you feel like you accomplished important things, you probably did. If you feel like you didn't, you probably didn't. And so it is a much more qualified, it's more a qualitative metric than a quantitative metric.
Well, my hope is that everybody listening so far can look at what they're doing over the course of the day, learn how to be just a little bit more productive than they were yesterday as a result of listening to this. And at the same time, have that moment that you described when we first started talking about feeling like at the end of the day, it was a great day. It was a great day. We're going to continue our great conversation more. We're going to take a quick break with a couple sponsors that are important to us. Then we're going to do some rapid fire questions for fun and see what kind of answers you can come up with. So hang tight and we will be right back on the Positively Altered podcast. This is your weekly dose of Dr. Cindy, the Positively Altered podcast. Stop, hit that follow button now and spread the love with Positively Altered. And we're back with Maura Thomas, who is an accomplishment strategist. And Maura, I have to say that slowly because that is a really important mouthful. But when you say that too fast, you screw it up. All right, we're going to do some rapid fire questions. You ready?
Ready.
And they don't have to be rapid, just whatever first comes to mind.
Okay.
As long as you need. All right. Question number 1. If you could travel anywhere in the world to see something you haven't seen yet, where would you go?
Great Barrier Reef in Australia.
Okay. Never been to Australia at all?
No, not yet.
Okay. I think that's a good one. That's on my list too. So
yeah,
maybe we'll run into each other at the reef.
I hope the Great Barrier Reef is still alive by the time I get there.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So you got to get that on your priority list sooner rather than later, right? That's right. The to-do travel list that just went to the top.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Any guilty pleasures you want to share with the audience?
Oh, yeah. Fiction audiobooks, TV. I mean, I love TV. I don't do reality TV, but I love, scripted TV. I'm sure there are many more things I could be doing with my time, but I love me some, Outlander.
Okay. Okay, haven't seen that yet. I'll put that on the list to check out. Instead of doom scrolling, we'll go with Outlander for next month for the plan. If you could only have 3 apps on your phone and everything else had to go away, what 3 apps would you keep?
Calendar, Todoist, my to-do list app, and Whoop. Whoop is my fitness band.
I love that. You notice there was no Facebook, no LinkedIn, no Instagram. Like that didn't even make the list.
Oh God, no.
I was just calling attention for everybody listening today to see that those are not essential apps, right? To be productive and to accomplish things. All right. If you could trade your life with any cartoon character, who would you trade your life with?
Cartoon character? Oh my gosh. Thelma from Scooby-Doo. I love dogs. I love mysteries. That sounds fun.
Okay, Thelma it is. I think didn't somebody want to be somebody else? Julie's in the background. I think we had somebody else that wanted to be a Scooby-Doo character too. We might be able to build a team eventually and restructure the entire cartoon. We'll let you know, Maura, if we can get all the cartoon characters covered.
Okay.
And we'll stage a reality TV show of swapping. That would be fun. All right. Lastly, what was your favorite thing about doing the podcast today?
Oh, it was such a good conversation. You didn't I haven't had a chance to dive into what accomplishment means very often. And that, I think that was such a great place to start, because words matter. And we throw out these words, and they're common words, and we know, like, in general what the definition means, but my definition is really different probably than your definition, and how we're applying it is different. And I think, and since that's really what I want to help people do, I love that was your first question.
Oh my gosh, it's great. So speaking of helping people do what they do, how do they find you, learn more about you, follow you, buy the books? Give us all the goods, please.
Yeah, the best place to start. Well, of course, my website is maurathomas.com, but the great place to start is maurathomas.com/productivity-assessment. We have this amazing productivity assessment that helps you really identify where your biggest challenges are, and just provides this wealth of resources that you can work through to help you tackle that specific challenge. And then it's designed to come back, right? Okay, now I've got that one. What's my next biggest challenge? Take it again, see if you've really improved, and find out what the next one is, and go on from there.
Oh my gosh, I just love this. Everybody, I'm going to tell you what my favorite part of the podcast was today. And that's the fact that I'm going to call myself out on the fact that I'm not as productive as I like to admit that I am. I'm pretty confident that there's a little bit of doom scrolling and a little bit of distraction and a lot of emails that are getting in my way of truly feeling accomplished. And yet I didn't even recognize, I think, how big of a problem that was until we had this conversation. So Maura, thank you for allowing me to turn that inward and look at my own life to determine where I need to learn and grow and just be a little more accomplished. So thank you for that. It was a wonderful gift.
Let me tell you, same, right? Like, I like to think I am, probably better than the average person based on my work, but I still succumb to all the things that everybody else does. It's hard. The struggle is real.
It is. And I'm feeling like we need an accountability group now, like accomplishment, productivity, and accountability, right? Because
yes, exactly.
That's the piece I think a lot of us high performers definitely need as well. If you're looking to find out more information about what we do here, please check us out at drcindyspeaks.com. You can shoot us an email to hello@drcindyspeaks.com as well. We love to hear about you. Oh, Maura is sporting her positively altered beanie cap. I love that, Maura. For those of you who are not watching, you are missing the knit cap. And, this time of year, at least where I'm at in Chicago, you would need that if you were hanging out here for sure. If you're interested in the book, please check out Positively Altered, Finding Happiness at the Bottom of a Chemo Bag. You can buy it on Amazon or where your favorite books are sold. And if you don't read, because I know some of you do not read, it is on Audible and you can listen to the book yourself. Maura, it's been a pleasure. You know what? I have this huge feeling we're going to have you back because there's a couple other things I want to pick your brain on and see what we can explore and find some more deficiencies in Dr. Cindy's world that she can improve on and hopefully improve the lives of her listeners as well. I hope today's podcast has left everybody positively altered.